Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. And what is that I hear you say? Could it possibly be? Yes, it is the start of a new series on the Nawtystep channel. Here we go. I've always wanted there to be more of a space for covering the old stuff, the classics on this channel, and I'm very aware that the best way of doing that is through playing the music and, you know, reacting to it, going through it with you guys hearing it in the same way that I am hearing it. So I've started this little idea called Throwback React. Essentially what I'm going to be doing here is going over bass classics, as you can see there at the bottom in the middle, bass classics revisited, and just hearing them, whether it be albums, EPs, compilations, tracks, whatever, and just showing you guys the music, showing you guys and telling you guys why they are so important, why they are celebrated so much, and everything that comes with that. And there isn't really a better place to start, I don't think, when it comes to bass music, modern bass music, than Bangarang, the December 2011 EP from the one, the only, Mr. Sonny Moore, aka Skrillex. It is a definite classic, which I actually named as my best EP of the whole of the 2010s a few years ago, but I wanted to revisit here just to see if that opinion, that viewpoint from me kind of holds up, if I still believe it, if I still think the same thing. So yeah, gonna run through the EP here, start to finish, talk about the tracks, talk about the project overall, and just give some updated thoughts on what is, again, yeah, a certified classic. Show. One more thing to note here is that if you are signed up to my Patreon, which is linked down below in the description, it should be in the pinned comment as well from me, and also in the middle of the screen here, although that isn't a link, that's just what you type in to find it. You will be able to help me choose which projects, EPs, albums, compilations, whatever, I cover next in this series, so you will have a say in what I cover on this channel for this series. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get cracking on, shall we, with this absolute classic, Bangarang, right in. Okay, let's go. One of the most explosive and just in-your-face openings to a bass EP of all time, without question. Without question. Just a fantastic way to open up a project, because it takes your attention right from the beginning with this super impactful, just extremely well cut idea, track, everything. Yeah, I think hard to deny that is one of the most full throttle, in your face, just to the point and explosive openings to a bass EP that we have heard in this modern era. And given what he goes for in that tune, it has practically everything from really sharp production, given how loud it is overall. You know, it could have got a little bit too abrasive and a little bit blown out, but it never has that feel about it. And the vocal samples are fantastic, the sound usage excellent, little changes from one drop to another. It just all ties together into this really trimly cut and effective opening tune, and kind of lays the way, or paves the way, sorry, for what is a succession of really explosive tracks following that we are about to hear. Super catchy as well. I mean, this was peak pop dubstep, well, modern dubstep blending from Skrillex here, again with the vocal sampling, just the makeup of the tune. It's got a real kind of pop quality about it, the songwriting that we get here. The more I've heard that track, the more I've fallen in love with it and appreciated it as an opener for this EP. What a colossal introductory tune for the Bangarang EP. But next up we have the title track featuring Syra on vocal duty. Just love that chugging underneath it. Bangarang, wap wap wap. The feel of the Also, I can't forget to mention the music video if you haven't seen that, with the ice cream man Everything that happens in that music video, I can't even describe it, to be honest, but yeah, definitely check it out. It's just the flow. It's that, I think it's like a 110 BPM dubstep kind of flow. Absolutely sensational. Love those little shouts, those little stabbing, screaming effects. Really, really good. Bangarang. Brings that follow-up drop right back in. It's the feel of the... Not giving a fuck. What do you want? I mean, I was talking earlier about Right In being that perfect harmony between pop and dubstep, but to be honest, I think this even levels up on that, and you might be sat there thinking, well, Connie, you can't really get better than perfect, but just allow me, just allow me for this particular instance. I mean, yeah, this is modern dubstep infused with all the good of pop music, with the vocal stuff we get here, the structure of the track, the sounds again, gnarly but executed so cleanly and efficiently. It is another track for me that I find difficult to fault. I mean, there are maybe certain parts here and there with the heaviness where it drags just a tiny bit and you're looking for something a little bit more inventive in terms of the difference between the different drops we get here, and you can maybe even say that for Right In as well, though I'd also say, to kind of counter that the consistency that we get ideas wise, concepts wise with the drops is what makes it very identifiable and what makes it stick in your head, using those similar sounds again with, you know, tiny differences between the drops, and you could have again had a bit more invention, had a bit more just unpredictability with that, but keeping it consistent like that also, you know, makes it really stick in your head. Love the midsection as well. Can't forget to highlight that. That is a beautiful way of resetting the track and rebuilding again with the guitar. Again, there's just so many good elements here being brought together, and it just has such a seamless and refined execution given all of that, given everything that is going on. And following that, we have Breaking a Sweat with the Doors. And some good percussion, boy. You got some good percussion there, boy. That's good. That's good. The growls and the snarls and the belches and all that robotic machine-like good stuff. Let's kick ass. That's good. Another iconic Skrillex midsection here, I think.
One person with a lot of machines, tapes, electronic setups, singing or speaking and using machines.
Okay, play that beat again. That's good. Wow, 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 wow. Bam, 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 bam. And this is so cheeky. This. Whose idea was it to mix these two? Whose idea was it for this to happen? If you think about Skrillex and you think about the Doors, it's just complete polar opposites. Like, why and how How? Yeah, again, don't really understand how those worlds collide or how they come together, but it really, really works. And it's the same kind of things. The production, exceptional. The sound usage, exceptional. The structure, the influences that we get here being brought together, just all working so effectively. I mean, we get different kinds of percussion throughout the tune. We get different kinds of vocal. It's just a whole whirlwind of different sounds. It's got a load of story to it, and that is just kind of amplified by that midsection we get with the voice recording. Yeah, again, just loads going on, all brought together very effectively, and yeah, still don't quite get how it worked, but they definitely did make it work, in my opinion. And we've got to be grateful for people like Skrillex, who started off in this scene, very much, you know, the catalyst for this kind of music exploding, if you will. But then, you know, he branched out and he brought other people in from completely different musical worlds, and that's a fantastic thing that these kind of collaborations were made possible. But moving on, don't want to get carried away, there are more tunes to hear. We have The Devil's Den with Wolfgang Gartner, electro housey kind of legend. Let's give it a whirl. I've always wondered with this kind of lead line just whether it was more Skrillex or more Wolfgang Gartner, because the sound is very Wolfgang Gartner, that synth, but then it feels like a Skrillex crafted kind of lead line, but maybe they both worked on it together equally on each individual part of it. The mix down, the whole execution of this track, just absolutely elite with so much going on. We're quickly approaching, fast approaching what is possibly my favourite drop on the whole EP. I'm not saying it is the best objectively, but I'm saying it might be my favourite. Devil's Den, the Devil's Den. We're all locked in the Devil's Den. Yup. And then just dipping from there expertly straight back into the original lead line. I mean, again, the expertise on show is fucking wild. Yeah, each time I hear that track, I just find myself thinking, fuck, I'm so happy that that collaboration happened. For me, anyway, personally, these are two artists that I love for completely different reasons, and again, it's a thing of thinking, well, I don't quite know how they're going to work, how they're going to make it happen, but fuck me, they really do with that tune. That being said, I would still say that it doesn't have quite the quality of the ones that have come before it in the EP, in my opinion, and it's the first drop in particular for me. I mean, yeah, there is a lot going on, but it still has a little bit of an empty feel about it when it initially comes in. There's just a few gaps there that you feel could be filled. Just a small extent to which you feel it's dragging, you know, just that little bit where it's just like, oh, you know, you're kind of pushing it along, you're wanting to get into it, but it's just like a drawn out sound, or like a screeching effect that might go on for just a little bit too long and just leave that available gap, that space for you to be like, oh, just wanting to get into it that little bit more. And that is why I think for the beginning of the second drop, when that comes in, you have that extra percussion in the background, just keeping it ticking along that little bit more, just to provide that contrast from the first, because I think they were probably aware of that, but that is a clever change that they do for the beginning of that second drop. That initial entrance of the first drop, besides, I think the heaviness is fantastic. Again, we're talking about all the belches, all the monster growls and just screeches you can think of and associate with Skrillex, but in a different and more higher paced kind of setting and backdrop, and it just works really well. That was Skrillex kind of tapping in a little bit more, well, back into his, you know, electro housey kind of roots that we heard quite a lot of when he was initially getting big. It's another fantastic midsection. I mean, the build up with that, the way it kind of winds up with the devilish vocal sample, Devil, winding up so well. And then that second drop, the kind of middle drop that we get, I think here, not one of the two main drops, but the middle one is, yeah, I think possibly my favourite on the whole EP. Just the way that it slams in and kind of drills through your brain. Fucking fantastic, and just completely hard hitting, unrelenting. I'm just a fucking massive fan of that drop, always have been, and provides a nice kind of energy change at that point for the EP as well. But next up we have another quite high paced tune, to be fair, and that is Right on Time with 12th Planet and Kill the Noise. I've always loved the tribal feel of these drums in the introduction, just upbeat, just getting you in the mood, just re-establishing that energy that we had before. When I first heard this, I was like, where the hell is this going? What is going on here? And in my naive state, I was like, is that a drop? Or is this just some kind of continuous song situation that we're getting here? I had absolutely no idea. Oh, fucking hell! I'm at sea, mate. I'm fucked. I don't know where I am. Beat the light. I haven't actually had this sort before, but this is kind of a glitch hop situation, isn't it? If you think about it, the kind of hop and the skip of it. Oh, I feel pretty at sea when I'm hearing this bit. You know, just all over the place, just a bit discombobulated and not entirely sure where I am. If you haven't heard this song before and you've just heard it with me here for the first time, I'm really interested to know what you think of this one, because I don't think I've ever quite sussed what it is in my head, having heard it, you know, tens of times. Yeah, definitely not my favourite on the EP, pretty far from it, maybe even my least favourite. I've always found it a little bit convoluted, a little bit just all over the place and not entirely sure what it's going for, and as a result of that, just found it quite hard to get into. I love the pacing of it. I love how it keeps that high energy up following Devil's Den. That's really good. Just a really effective way of keeping the listener locked in when we're, what is that, the 5th track on the EP. There might be an extent to which people are like, at that point, I'm getting a bit bored now, I kind of want to move on, but he does keep you engaged with the energy of the tune overall. The vocal sample, the main vocal sample, pretty catchy, although does get a little bit annoying and just a little bit you know, over the course of the tune. And I do like all the slowings down and speedings back up that we get across the track. Again, that's a pretty effective way of keeping the listener locked in. But yeah, conceptually, just always found it a bit all over the place and not entirely sure. I don't think the track or they were entirely sure of what they wanted to do with it. I mean, that first kind of slowdown that we get for the first proper drop or release of sound into the glitch hop situation, if you want to call it that, it's just not enough of a payoff at all, given the amount of build up that we get before it. So yeah, that one definitely has its plus points, which I've mentioned already, but the stuff which isn't quite as good, I think, does bring it down significantly and makes it constitute as a bit of a weird sort of midway point for the EP that I've again never really known entirely fully 100% what to make of it. But anyway, track number 6 is Kyoto with Syra on vocal duty yet again. This song is absolutely class. Another one that was out for ages, leaked on YouTube, etc. So you had a bit of an idea of it before you came into it, but this finished, refined, polished version, just sublime. Mate, it's just the vocal chopping. His vocal chopping and his drums. I mean, as a combination, has anyone ever matched him in the modern bass era for that combination of things? I don't think so. Yo, Squirrel, drop it hard. just such a good idea. That gritty, so good. Monitor the swag on the corner, make some ramen with the drum as the bass makes that bitch crawl. Absolutely outrageous. Now that I think about it, actually, it's kind of similar to Right In, that, you know, super explosive, short, trimly cut, super effective and efficient kind of tune. That is exactly what Skrillex went for again with Kyoto. The main concept there, the main idea, it's just trickles through your mind. It makes it vibrate and rattle, just gets right in there, sticks in there. It's a fantastic little idea. The whole track's got this super kind of gritty appeal to it, which just shakes your body a bit. The vocal play from Syra, so good. The whole vocal chopping that we've got there from Skrillex as well. And again here we've got another example of everything, you know, surrounding the heaviness being so good. The introduction brings you in really effectively, or the melodic play that we get there. Outro, of course, as well. The builds that we get here. The midsection's good again, but you know, the midsection kind of goes towards an outro instead of a second drop per se, but still really good. Just loads of charm and allure to this tune. Again, with that melody, the musicality that we get here. Very enchanting feel about it. So yeah, just so much going on emotionally, sonically, fucking cracker. Penultimately, we have Summit featuring Ellie Goulding, who Skrillex did used to go out with, and I think this came out around that time. So yeah, just a bit of a love song for the penultimate cut here. If you haven't heard it yet, just sit back and enjoy. I mean, more amazing vocal chopping, need I say more? People are going mad over this, by the way, because this is Skrillex singing. This is Sonny Moore on the vocal duty for this bit, so people are just going mad for this tune, mad for it. Bit of melancholic step, bit of from first to last vocal layering, why not? Just bring it all together. And yes, melancholic step is absolutely a thing from today. I just invented it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank me. You're welcome. Really well paced out, this tune. I think that section that we just got, really important for just bringing it back down to earth a little bit, because from that opening couple of minutes it could have just exploded into something huge, which would have been typical Skrillex at the time, but he reins it in and he manages the pacing of the tune just extremely well. Oof. Chills straight away. The tears were almost, you know, really almost. Ah. It's lovely as a release of sound, but I distinctly remember the first time I heard it going, what, is that it? Is that it? There's no heaviness, there's no like proper drop, is that it? Is that really it? You're just gonna blue ball us like that, Skrillex? Like, how naive I was. How naive in the music listening game I was. He's got a beautiful voice, does Mr. Moore. You gotta hand it to him. You've gotta hand it to him. Yeah, just a beautifully somber, melancholic, reflective tune that we hadn't heard that much of, well, from Skrillex before, so I feel like this was the first slow-paced, really kind of sad tune from him in the mainstream, you know, released as a, you know, within an EP of this kind that we'd got from him, especially with everything else here being so heavy. So really effective way of kind of toning down the EP, just giving it a different leaning, giving it a different emotion as we draw towards the end here, resultantly providing a bit of story for the EP as well at this ending, well, near ending kind of point, because you might go into an EP like this just thinking, oh, it's just bangers, you know, just wall to wall filth, then and heaviness and whatnot, but this gave it a bit of an album feel for a project that is, yeah, sold as an EP. It's a tune I've always enjoyed, apart from maybe, yeah, the first time I heard it. I did need a couple of listens to get used to it. Like I touched on earlier, I got to that end point and I was like, really? You're not going to give us a drop in this song? I was childish in my evaluation of music back then, but now I can see how good it is, everything it kind of provides, and the purpose that it serves also within the context of the EP. So yeah, beautiful tune. But finally here, the closer for the EP, Skrillex Orchestral Suite by Varian. This is a bit of a bonus track. Can't remember entirely, but don't think it was there originally when the EP came out. It's been added over time. Could be wrong about that, but do let me know. 6 minutes 54 to close out Bangarang. Let's get it. I mean, just think about what we open the EP with and what we're closing it with here. The juxtaposition, the contrast, the journey that you go on with this EP. Pretty mad. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. So it'll become clearer as this track goes on if you haven't heard it before, but basically it's a load of old relative to this EP coming out, but past Skrillex tunes that are kind of refashioned in a classical format. First of the year, Equinox, for anyone who can't spot it or hadn't spotted it yet. And I think the version without this at the end works very well. It's just a solid Skrillex EP, but then this just to tone it down even more and just as a nice kind of encapsulator for the project. I think that also works, to be fair. All I ask of you, just open up a little bit more. This is like Hercules. This is literally like something from Hercules. Like, oh, there it is. SMNS. You know the deal. Pretty beautiful. Pretty stunning, that. Wow. Zoom. You know, the conductor stops. Varian stops. Sensational. Sensational stuff. Yeah, I mean, there might be a couple of moments where the notes don't quite match up with the ones in the original tunes, but you kind of want that at the same time. You want a bit of individuality and kind of going beyond what we know the original tune for, just making it Varians, if you know what I mean. Like, that's the only thing I say about it, because the transitioning between the different tracks we get here within this near 7-minute behemoth of a classical tune is exceptional. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it does work without this tune, the EP. It functions fine, but as a way of providing even more story and bringing the tone down and just kind of leveling it energy wise even more as an ending point, I think it really works with the tune as well. So yeah, love that as a kind of encapsulator and closer offer for the EP, if it's there, if it's going. But yeah, all in all, what an EP. Looking back on it, do I enjoy it quite as much as I used to? Yeah, I think I do, but I think I have realised as well, the part that Right on Time plays within the EP, I think I just kind of ignored it when I've heard it in the past, but now I'm like, yeah, that is a little dip within the project overall, but the good thing is that it isn't just a 4-tracker or a 6-tracker, it's an 8-tracker if we're including the classical bit at the end. So Right on Time does get drowned out a bit within that collection of tunes. And if we're revisiting the idea that it is, or was at least for me, the #1 EP of the whole of the 2010s in the whole of bass music, I think I would still hold that opinion, because there aren't that many EPs that went for that many tunes, and the amount of good ideas we get here, the incredible production, the vocals, the story bound up in the EP as well, when usually it's just like a collection of bangers, more like a compilation feel to it. I think it's just insanely impressive. The pop influence we get here, melded and massaged into to the heavier parts, the more heavy bass elements of the EP that we get as well. I think I just struggle to think of another EP that has got this much quality on offer in terms of all those different factors. But do let me know below what you make of the EP, if you've heard it for the 50th time here with me, or if you've heard it for the first time. Just let me know what your thoughts on it are, whether you do agree with me that it is in fact the best bass EP of the 2010s and maybe of this whole era so far. Yeah guys, there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you want to help me choose what ones I do next, what projects I do next for this series, you can join my Patreon and get involved with that. There's loads of other exclusive content to go with that particular perk. So yeah, please do consider it. If you enjoy what I do, if you value what I do, and you want to see me keep doing it, there's no better way to keep it going. There's no better way to keep the channel, to keep Nawtystep going generally, and it's massively appreciated from me. And just £3 a month, which isn't very much at all given the amount that I'm providing on there, so please do consider it. I'd massively appreciate it. Beyond that, nothing more to add, I don't think, but I shall see you in the next one, whatever that might be. Keep it naughty until then. Peace.